All right, if you're a wireless tech, you know this pain. A client has a super fast internet connection, but things still feel slow. Well, today, we're going to tackle one of the most powerful tools in your entire toolkit, quality of service, or QoS. Let's get into it.
Just to give you some quick context, what we're covering here comes from a really detailed report by the RFI detectives, who are part of Virtualization Options LLC. This is actually part 8 of a 10-part series, and we're zeroing in on the insights from Chapter 8, which is all about mastering network traffic. So let's start with a scene we've all been in. Your client is paying for a blazing fast gigabit connection, but their most important video calls, they're a choppy, pixelated mess. They're frustrated, you're frustrated, so what gives? It turns out raw speed is not the whole story.
What you're really dealing with is a network traffic jam. I want you to picture a huge, multi-lane highway. You've got ambulances and giant transport trucks all stuck in the same lanes. Even if the speed limit is 100 miles an hour, one big, slow truck, kind of like a large file download, can cause a massive backup and make life miserable for everyone else.
And this is exactly where quality of service comes in to save the day. Think of QoS as the ultimate traffic control system for that network highway. Its job isn't to add more lanes, it's to intelligently manage the traffic that's already there, making sure the most important vehicles, or in our case, data packets, get to their destination without any delay.
So what's the first thing our traffic controller does? It creates express lanes. It has to figure out which data is the most urgent, the most time-sensitive, and then give it a totally clear path, just like an ambulance getting a police escort through rush hour.
And this right here is the priority list. At the very top, you have your real-time services like voice calls and video conferencing. Why? Well, because you can't buffer a live conversation, right? Any delay, any jitter, you feel it immediately. Right below that, you've got your streaming and gaming, then general web browsing, and way down at the bottom are the big, bulky transfers like backups that can totally afford to wait a little bit.
Now it gets even cooler. Beyond just prioritizing the type of data, QoS lets you reserve entire sections of that highway for specific groups. This is how you make sure a critical department isn't stuck fighting for bandwidth with, say, the public guest network. Let's see how that looks.
Check this out. It's a really clear way to see how you can literally slice up your network's capacity. So here, we've guaranteed that both the executive team and the operations department each have a solid 40% of the bandwidth, no matter what. They will never get bogged down just because somebody on the guest network decided to start downloading a huge game. It's an incredibly powerful way to enforce your client's business priorities.
But we can get even more granular than that. On top of sorting data types and user groups, you can basically assign a personal escort to specific mission-critical devices. We're talking about giving them true VIP access to the network at all times.
This table is a perfect real-world example. The CEO's laptop, highest priority. Their Zoom calls absolutely cannot fail. The point-of-sale system is right behind it. If that system lags, the business is literally losing money. Security cameras are important, sure, but they can handle a tiny delay. And a guest smartphone, it just gets whatever's left over. The key here is tying these priority levels directly to business impact.
Okay, so we get the ideas. Prioritizing traffic, reserving bandwidth, managing devices. So how do you actually put this all into practice? How do you step up and become that network traffic controller?
Here's your game plan. First, always identify the critical applications, what absolutely cannot fail. Then, carve out bandwidth for the user groups who need them. Give those VIP devices we just talked about the highest priority. Now, here's a huge piece of advice. Start simple. Don't try to create 100 different rules on day one. Roll out a basic policy, test it, and then monitor and adjust. This is a living, breathing thing. And I want to leave you with this really powerful statement. It comes directly from that RFI detectives report. Proper QoS configuration separates competent technicians from truly exceptional ones. This isn't just about flipping a switch. Mastering QoS shows you have a deep, fundamental understanding of how networks actually work under pressure.
So, I'll end with this question for you to take to your next job site. Based on everything we just covered, what's the single biggest network bottleneck you're dealing with? That choppy video call, that lagging point of sale system that you can go out and solve with a smart QoS policy tomorrow.